donkey butt. Woo!
Yeah. And we
Stretch
are
his
we are now
collar.
live on YouTube. We are now live on Rumble. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This is not the script. The show is about what happened to date throughout the annals of recorded history. Join us as we delve into yesteryear, not only for an important and interesting happenings, but to possibly even answer questions you don't know you have. The sources of this information come from the website onthisday.com and the smart device application's historical calendar and Today in History. For links to these sources and anything else potentially interesting, please check the underbar of the description below. And as usual, all links gathered throughout the show will appear post-live stream. Anyway, I am Eozander, and today I am joined by Hawk in the live studio audience, who has made himself deafened, so he can't even hear us. And who else do we have? Waiting for her to unmute to introduce herself.
History.
There she is.
Sorry,
all
love.
right.
Hello.
No worries. And of course, you audience member are you, whether you're viewing us live or seeing us at some point in the space-time continuum. And I see Cool Frog. Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? I know that you're streaming, so I appreciate you coming and checking me out. You know, just to show you something, I am still watching. You're no longer streaming anymore. Huh. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. Today is, what is today? Freya's Day, correct? Yeah, aka Friday, January 19th, 2024. So let's jump into the history, shall we? Starting us off in the year 379, we have Emperor Gratian elevated Flavius Theodosius at Sirmium to Augustus, aka co-emperor, and gave him authority over all the eastern provinces of the Roman Empire. That's pretty big right there. And then we're jumping up into 649 out of main source here. Conquest of Kusha, the forces of Kusha surrendered after a 40-day siege led by Tang Dynasty General Ashina She'er, establishing Tang control over the northern Tarim basin of Xinjiang, wherever the heck that is. It sounds like the southwest Asian areas, like, you know, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Taiwan, aka not Taiwan, Thailand. Once again, I'm confusing my ties. Oops, that's the wrong button. Here we go. Hey, I see Ghost is in the chat too. How you doing? You're both here and you're over there. Like, yeah. He does not start till 9 p.m. MST, Mountain Standard Time. So that's 7 my time. Okay. All right. What else do we got here? 1511, another off source. We have the Italian Duchy of Miradola surrendered to the Pope. Huh. Okay. Moving on up to, well, this is something I don't have in the script, so I gotta add this actually in right now, but I will read this. 1363, English King Edward III introduced his sumptuary laws, restricting what people ate and wore to preserve social status, largely ignored. That sounds rather interesting right there, and I had, yeah, so I have not yet skipped over this time, so let me just add that to the script really quick. That's really interesting, though. Like, that sounds very topical to what's going on today with all the veganism and all that crap being pushed and whatnot. Interesting. And just like, well, unfortunately, not like they were back then, we're not really ignoring it as a society, like, you know, like, but anyway. Moving on up to 1419, French city of Rouen surrendered to Henry V in the 100 Years' War. All right, and completing his reconquest of Normandy. So this is the King of England and France, and the last actual land area of mainland Europe that the United Kingdom held before they like did other things. But for a time, it was Normandy, France, at least around the 100 Years' War area. Moving on up to 1511. Okay, we got that one. They surrendered the Pope. 1520, Sten Sture the Younger, the regent of Sweden, was mortally wounded at the Battle of Bogdanen and died on February 3rd. Wow. So he lasted a while, but probably in pain. And like back in the day, people who used to lead, you know, like who gave the orders, oh, go out there and fight. The kings and the lords and the like the freaking like whatever other like positions there are, like they actually went out there and fought with the people that they were ordering to go out and fight and die for them. What a concept, right? You know, wouldn't that be interesting? You know, if Brandon led a charge, like, you know, into enemy territory, like, come on, Team 6, let's go. He just like shuffles around in full like tack gear. Wouldn't that be a sight? So, anyway, Moving on up to 1607, San Agustin Church in Manila was officially completed and still stands today as the oldest current church in the Philippines. That's really cool. So all the way back in 1607, so that is 400 plus years old. Hold on a second, let me do some quick math here. 24, actually 7, 14, 24 minus 7 equals 17, so 417 years old. That's an old church right there. 1639, Hämeenlinna, aka Swedish Tavastithus, was granted privileges after it separated from the Vanaja parish as its own city in Tavastia. Okay. 1668, King Louis XIV and Emperor Leopold I signed the treaty dividing Spain. Ooh. I wonder if that's where Portugal came from. You know, hold on a second. Let's do a quick little research here. When did Portugal become a country? Wait, let's see here. Come on, Portugal. History of Portugal, yada yada. But why are you not telling me anything right off the bat here? Okay, well let's just see. When did Portugal become a thing? First county. Okay. Well, this is a whole research thing. So like I just leave this up to the viewer. If anybody does so wish. And I'll get to the chat here in a second. If anybody does so wish to look up in Portugal, when did it actually become a thing? Was it around this same time? Like, is this what made Portugal? That's a good question. But anyway, what do we got here in the chat really quick? We got Miss Ghost in the YouTube chat, hello. And we have, you know, once again, Mr. Cool Frog and Miss Ghost in the Rumble chat here. 7 p.m. yours. I am not in Alaska. No, I am in a place actually worse than hell. Because at least in hell they don't charge you property tax. So, yeah, or tax you at the bum in everything. So, yeah. And I'm not sure how I'd fare in Alaska. Honestly, I'm too lazy to be self-reliant to that degree. I'd probably die. So, anyway. Getting back to the history here, 1746, Bonnie Prince Charlie, Prince Charles Edward Stuart's Jacobite army occupied Stirling, Scotland. And the old style is January 8th, as we all know. Like, they had different calendars and all that stuff. The Gregorian calendar, I go off on tangents about this all the time, how great it is that despite all the differences in the world, we still figured out a way, because we kind of had to, a unified system of various measurements, not just for time, but distances, weights, and all that stuff. The world uses the metric system. For the most part, the world uses the Gregorian calendar, because, like, if we're going to do shipping, we got to, you know, it's easier not to have, you know, all these different things to have to calculate and everything, kind of like how the exchange rate is a thing. Like, you know, that's still a calculation thing, and, you know, the powers that be are really trying their damnedest to make a unified world economy. They tried with the euro. They were going to do something with the Americas, the Amero, you know, to unify North and South America, and then eventually, like, they were going to try to have the Asia, and unify all the Asians. And I shit you not, you know, you can look this up. They were also looking into the Afro for Africa, like not making fun of them having Afros or anything, but just Afro, you know, Euro, Amero, Asia, just the EOs, you know, at the end of whatever it is that the continents. So they're trying to make continental unified economies, and then later on down the line, they just unify all the continents, and then we have a one global economy, like as one currency, no more exchanges. But that has thankfully failed, you know. So anyway, moving on up, 1764, John Wilkes was expelled from the British House of Commons for seditious libel. And for anybody who doesn't know, seditious libel essentially means like just talking shit, essentially. But like, let's see here. Seditious libel is a criminal offense under common law of printing written material with seditious purposes. That is the purpose of bringing contempt upon a political authority. It remains an offense in Canada, but has been abolished in England and Wales. And I'm not sure where it stands in the United States, but, you know, everybody's going on about fake news this, fake news that, and all stuff. Why don't we just do 13 28-day months? I agree. I know all about that. Because, like, if you look into October, what is Oc? A is 8. Why is October the 10th month? Dec, 10. Why is Dec December the 12th month? You know, like, the whole system is all screwed up. Like, and like I had a whole chat with Noah about this, and it extended to a whole bunch of other like subject matters and all that whatnot. But like there is a basic mathematical principle to our times that we don't follow anymore. Like if you look at the old Jewish, like manuscripts and whatnot, like they do have a 13 month calendar. Like it, not to say we should follow one group over another, but like we should be looking at this. So, like you make a really excellent point there, Cool Frog, and I agree. What else do we got here? We have 1764. Paul Willem Luxdorf recorded in his diary that a mail bomb, possibly the world's first, had severely injured the dangerous Colonel Polshin, residing at Borglum Abbey. Wow. 1764 is possibly on this date. January 19th is when we had the first act of mail terrorism. That's interesting. Huh. For 6 years later, 1770, we have the Battle of Golden Hill in Lower Manhattan. Okay, that's whatever. So, 1785, we have the first manned balloon flight in Ireland. Oh, look at that! We have the Irish are now taken to the skies. Awesome. 3 years later, the second group of ships of the First Fleet arrived at Botany Bay, and that's 1788. Let me move on up here, and that is not even in this primary source. So let's see. And 1795, we have the Batavian Republic was proclaimed in the Netherlands, replacing the Dutch Republic. This democratic revolution in Amsterdam ended the oligarchy. That's interesting. A democratic thing ending an oligarchy. That would not happen today, by any means. So, 1806, United Kingdom reoccupied the Cape of Good Hope following the victory in the Battle of Blauberg over French vassal, the Batavian Republic, established British rule in South Africa. Yeah, and 100 years later, we had the Boer Wars. So we all I'm slowly getting more and more familiar as days goes by, with the Boer Wars. But it's all about European colonialism and various African areas, especially South Africa and all that whatnot. And apparently, a lot of these African nations, they don't really know much about the meaning of the names and such, but a lot of these African cultures praise European things. For example, there's one guy who's in politics in I don't know, Zimbabwe or whatever, and his name is Adolf Hitler something. So he doesn't know what Adolf Hitler did. He just knows it was a European ruler. He's like, oh, let's name our child after a European ruler, not really knowing exactly the semantics about that person. So pretty sure if they did, he wouldn't be having that name. What else do we got here? 1808, Louis Napoleon signed the first Dutch aviation law. Wow. Well, I mean, hot air balloons and everything. So I mean, wow, all the way in 1800, 1808. Dutch, had aviation law. Wow. 1810, we have the cold Friday. Temperature at Portsmouth in New Hampshire dropped from 54 degrees to negative 12 Fahrenheit in one day, with many frozen to death. Holy crap, bruh! That is 62 degrees difference. In one day, that's almost straight out of that scene from Day After Tomorrow when everything was getting cold and you saw everything freezing almost instantaneously from the top down. That's terrifying. Ghosts, have you ever heard of such a thing? A 64 degree difference in 24 hours? That is wow.
Nope. Actually, I heard of a polar vortex, but nothing like that. Even though I lived in Vermont, it's cold as whatever you want to call it. It's freezing up there. That would be insane.
Yeah. I mean, no wonder a lot of people froze to death. That was, I wouldn't say borderline is instantaneous, but, that is a massive...
It's pretty close.
Yeah. That's a massive discrepancy right there.
I've experienced the reverse.
I'm sorry?
The reverse often happens, sorry.
Yeah, so it heats up, yeah. It takes... I don't really know much about thermodynamics. Does it take faster to heat something up or for it to cool down?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway, if anybody knows, please let us know in the comment section. Moving on up to 1812, we have the Peninsular War. After a 10-day siege, Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of Wellington, ordered British soldiers of the Light and 3rd Divisions to storm Ciudad Rodrigo. All right. 1817, an army of 5,423 soldiers led by General Jose de San Martin crossed the Andes from Argentina to liberal Chile, then Peru. Oh yeah, right. That's the Peninsular War. So it's 1817. Not even on main source here. So, wow. But yeah, General Jose de San Martin. I believe he was the revolutionary. Let's look him up here really quick. Let's see. Copy and paste. Ecosia. By the way, anyone new watching, if you don't know what Ecosia is, it's a search engine like Google, but it's not Google. So, and also apparently, like with every search, you know, you add towards planting trees. Apparently, I've contributed to 4 trees, but I couldn't really care less. I mean, it's cool that I planted trees, but it's not Google. That's why I'm using this. Yeah, the liberator of Argentina, Chile, and Peru. So he was a revolutionary. Yeah, this guy, I remember him. So. Really interesting person. So let's see here. I'm gonna add this to the underbar of the description section here. Hold on a second. Hyphen, add the hyphen, and just copy because I'm not gonna type that out earlier. So if anybody wants to read more about Jose de San Martin, please refer to the underbar description below after the live stream, of course. And yeah, it's this wiki will get you started on your rabbit hole adventure if you don't know how to start yourself. I don't know. Anyway, 1829, John Wolfgang von Goethe's Faust, the first part of the tragedy, received its premiere performance. Yeah, so by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, a poet and philosopher. Moving on up to 1820, the Dutch are the smart ones. Yeah, I mean, like, the Dutch, right, like, yeah, like, they created New York, initially called New Amsterdam. It was the Dutch. So as we know about, you know, New York, you know, one of the biggest, if not the biggest and most economically powerful city in the world was a Dutch creation. So there you go. 1839 here, the British East India Company captured Aden. And, you know, right there, like, you know, here we go, another AO tangent. Here we go. Like, very much like how they're doing it today. Well, actually, you know, like this is nothing new. Governments using corporations to skirt the laws and get around the roadblocks that they have there, you know, by utilizing, you know, the companies to do that. So we have the Dutch East India Company, the British East India Company. I believe, you know, the various companies and everything. The British East India Company, specifically here, is actually what created India as a what's the word? Help me here. Colony of Britain. They didn't do it by invasion or force or any military action. They did it with a company, you know. So, you know, the whole concept of corporations running the world, that's been going on actually for several hundred years now. It's nothing new. It's just gotten worse, and people are being more aware to it. So, 1861 here, Mississippi troops took Fort Massachusetts and Ship Island during the Civil War. Okay, that's a whatever article. 1861 as well, though, Georgia seceded from the Union during the Civil War, joining South Carolina, Florida, Mississippi, and Alabama in this action. So, yeah, everything's falling apart. And very, very topical to today's world. I have a prediction by the end of this year, you know, whether or not a certain orange man wins or loses, shit's going to pop off in a very serious way, and it's not going to end well for anybody at all, no matter what. But I don't want to get into that on this show. Maybe we'll talk about it on the Peanut, actually. You know what? Ghost, is that more of a Peanut article or a ThEoD? Or should it be both? Like, because...
Tough call. Your call. I would say both. That's my vote.
Like, because I'm thinking ThEoD because it's a conspiracy of mine, and that's a conspiracy, UFOlogy, Paranormal, and all that stuff show. But it's also a really good topic for the Peanut. So, hell, like, let me add it in really quick to both. Or something, or just at least.
Got to be careful on old tubes of view, as you know.
Yeah, no, we won't be talking about it on the YouTube section. We'll be talking about it on the Rumble section. So, like, very much like, you know, Crowder and, like, you know, a lot of other people on YouTube and such. They have a show and they do a live stream, like, you know, like what we here do at Omni Coalition. We're streaming both, you know, to YouTube and to Rumble. But then, you know, like with Rumble, with ThEoD and Peanut and various other stuff. We have a YouTube section, and then we end that, but we keep going with the stream and continuing on Rumble exclusively from that point on. So that way anybody who comes in and watches, you know, can see the extended show and all that whatnot. Anyway, where were we here? Okay, this is just a battle, whatever. 1863. General Mirosławski appointed as dictator of Poland. That's a yikes. So, 1865, NV Suriname Bank was established. What is that? I know Suriname is in Africa. Speaking of Africa again. NV Suriname Bank. De Suriname Bank. It's the largest bank in Suriname. It provides retail banking products such as transaction accounts, loans, mortgages, and credit and debt cards, as well as business loans. So it's still active. So, wow, that's astonishing. That bank's been around since 1865. Huh. Okay, that's whatever battle article. Who cares about that? 1871, the first this word lodge of U.S. Masons was approved in New Jersey. Okay. It's really unfortunate that they had to separate themselves and all that stuff, but you know, that's how the world was back then, and you know, they weren't getting any representation. Like, you know, when nobody else is gonna be by your side, you just got to stick to your guns and you know, find others like you. Like, unfortunately, that's sometimes how the way it works. Yeah, the Dutch East India was a better trading company. Prove me wrong. I will not prove you wrong, because actually, like, I saw a video. Here we go with I saw the video thing. Oh, we lost Ghost. Hopefully she'll be back. But let's see here. History. Dutch. Let's see if it'll pop up. Here we go. VOC. Right here. These guys right here. Mitzi Studio. They do a lot of really good videos. Like, they started off with, like, how countries fought their wars, and then they made a sequel to that, and then they've actually been getting into, like, some, like, decent, like, history shows and all that stuff, and they do 3D animation, so there's a lot of history channels and such I follow on YouTube, but Mitzi, I'd say, at least production-wise, puts in the most work, because this is all 3D stuff, and, you know, they do all sorts of things, and they get really deep about VOC and everything. And so, like, let me add this link in the underbar section here really quick. VOC. Alright, there we go. Moving on up, what else do we got here? Get rid of that, get rid of that. Let's see here. In 1871, we have the Franco-Prussian War. In the siege of Paris, Prussia won the Battle of St. Quentin. Meanwhile, the French attempted to break the siege in the Battle of Buzenval, only for it to be unsuccessful the following day. Uh-oh. So, sounds like the poor French aren't faring too well there. 1883, the first electric lighting system employing overhead wires began service at Roselle, New Jersey. And that's this one right here. The first electric lighting system employing overhead wires, built by Thomas Edison, began service at Roselle, New Jersey. So, Thomas Edison, I hate that guy with every fiber of my being. Absolute monster. What he did to Topsy was just, like, it's just disgusting. So, 1885, we have the Battle of Abu Quru, the Battle of Gubat in Sudan. A British desert column defeated Mahdist forces. 121 British and untold Mahdists were killed. Wow. So, untold. That's a big number.
So, are you willing?
I'm sorry.
Real quick, are you willing to talk about your Edison stuff? Because that's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for more.
Okay. Let's go on a little rant here. Okay, so Thomas Alva Edison and Nikola Tesla, at one point they were working together, you know, to create electricity and all that stuff. And at some point, you know, Edison and Westinghouse discovered that Tesla was trying to tap into the Earth's natural harmonic frequency, the natural magnetic energy of the planet, you know, itself, and just essentially get free energy off of that, unlimited free, you know, just. And with his Tesla towers, they're basically like power poles, but wirelessly transmitting electricity from the source into the atmosphere, capturing it from the atmosphere, and just dispersing it from that. Essentially, like, I'm not explaining it to the best thing, like, so anyway, what happened when they discovered he was trying to make everything free? Edison and Westinghouse, they wanted the money, so then they went to war with Tesla. And so we all know that Edison made direct current, Tesla made alternating current, AC/DC, and I'm not talking about the band. And then it got to the point where Edison, using like his, because I'm not sure if TV was invented yet, but movies were. There's a recording out there of him electrocuting an elephant to death named Topsy the elephant, to quote unquote demonstrate the dangers of alternating currents, to dissuade people from using that product, to dissuade people from following Tesla, to push people towards Edison. Well, when he did that, he didn't use Tesla's alternating current. He used his own direct current. So he killed an innocent animal for, like, just like there's not even a word for this level of evil, you know, like.
It's awful. Diabolical.
Yeah. And based off of a complete lie, you know, just to ruin this man. And unfortunately, he got his wish. You know, Tesla died, like, you know, penniless, destitute, and just like all that. It was really awful. Like, and
in the New Yorker hotel, he died, didn't he?
Yeah, somewhere in there. Like, just absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Cool Frog, people are starting to wake up about Edison. I mean, hell, out here in California, our only power is Southern California Edison. They have a monopoly. They can charge whatever the hell they want. So I guess they're keeping his spirit alive by being asshole, you know? Like, fuck. Anyway, so that's the end of my rant there. Like, let's get back onto the history show here. 1886, we have Aurora Ski Club, the first in U.S., was founded in Minnesota. Hey. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Minnesota, don't you know?
Yay, skiing! I'm biased towards that. Yay!
Yeah, I've never done that, skiing or snowboarding. Like, I kind of don't want to, cause like, you know, I'm not really like a sporty type of person. Like I got 2 inches on my skateboard and I fell off and broke my wrist in half. That's a story. So, but yeah, like, you know, everybody knows that New York is the Big Apple, but does anyone know where the Minneapolis? So, yeah, it's in Minnesota. Moving on up to 18. Sorry, what's up? I saw you unmuted there.
Oh, Minneapolis, St. Paul is 2 states, isn't it? Or is it just 1? MSP?
I have no idea. That's an Alice question. So,
Cool Frog would know.
he would. Let's await his reply in chat. And also, Cool Frog, you're welcome to pop in. We're on the Discord VC. If you want to.
Or I think I'm mixing it up with Kansas City.
Kansas City is in Kansas. Oh yeah, you're right. Kansas City is split between Kansas and something else. I know that.
Shoot, sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, like Minneapolis, you might have a thing there, although I'm not sure. Anyway, let's see here. 1898, the Brown defeats Harvard 6-0 in the first intercollegiate hockey game. Ooh, look at that. 1899, Anglo-Egyptian Sudan was formed. All right. And then 1909, Eugene Walter's Easiest Way premiered in New York City. That is a play and whatever. Ooh, 1910 here, Germany and Bolivia commenced end commerce and friendship treaty. Okay, so that's not good. That is a step in the wrong direction. Frog here says St. Paul is the capital of Minnesota, correct? Well, you know what, let's look at it. Capital of Minnesota. The capital of Minnesota is Minnesota State Capital. You have Minnesota City St. Paul. So there you go. Yeah, he's right. All right, 1910 as well. The U.S. National Institute of Arts and Letters incorporated by Congress. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. 1913, Raymond Poincaré installed as president of France. Okay, like, why is that there? Like, sorry about that. Like, I once again, I failed to research right yesterday. It's been a hell of a month, actually. Like, it's been really wild. So I'm kind of like leaning on the script that we read last year, and nothing new or edited since then. I got to get back on that. Sorry about that. 1915 here, during the First World War, at least 20 people in Norfolk were killed in the first major German Zeppelin air raid attack of the United Kingdom towns of Great Yarmouth and King's Lynn. So yeah, the first air raid on Britain. It is far better to face the bullets than to be killed at home by a bomb. Join the army at once and help stop the air raid. God save the king. Like, yeah. Says here, Cool says Minneapolis is its twin city to St. Paul, just across the Mississippi River. Ah, all right. So now we have two of you Midwestern. Well, we have a lot of Midwestern people in Omni Coalition here. Cool Frog, I've got to introduce you to Alice. You two will get along like peaches and gravy, or whatever. I'm not sure. You know what? I wonder how peaches would taste like in gravy now. That's now on my mental list. 1915, the neon tube sign patented by George Claude for use in advertising. All right. So we all know about neon and everything. So this is when this first, at least was patented. 1917, we have the Silvertown explosion. 73 people died when a munitions factory in Essex exploded. Ooh, that's not good. 1918, Soviets disallow a constitution assembly. Well, how very Soviet of them. 1918 as well, we have the Finnish Civil War, the first serious battles between the Red Guards and the White Guard. Here we go, we're getting into this. I made, we did an article about this the other day, the Reds versus the Whites in Finland. A lot of political strife happening at that time. Moving on up into the 1900s and 1901, and wait, what? Why is this here? 1901. Okay. I guess we're going back in time? Question mark. Hold on. Let me move this real quick. 1901, because we are like already way into the 1900s. So let me move this over here. So 1901, Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom was struck with paralysis, later to die after 3 days at the age of 81. That sucks. Anyway, let's get back on track here. 1919. National elections were held in Germany to form a national constituent assembly and draft a constitution. And this is after the First World War. When they got not split in half like they did after the second one, but they lost the Rhineland and all that stuff. Or they didn't really lose the Rhineland. They lost a lot of land and whatnot. Cool Frog says here, skis were invented in Lake City, Minnesota, and the lake is a wide area of the Mississippi River, not really a lake. Interesting. I think we spoke about, we've talked about like ski clubs and whatnot on the show as well. And when were skis invented? Let's look. When were skis invented? History of skiing. 7,000 BC. Okay, well, they've been around for a while. And what was it that you said, Frog? Skis were invented in Lake City, Minnesota. No, I don't think they were. Skiing or traveling over snow on skis has a history of at least 8 millennia. The earliest archaeological examples of skis were found in Karelia and date to 6000 BCE. I hate that BCE crap. Before Common Era, yeah, stick it. It's before Christ and after death, So, anyway, although skiing origins were purely utilitarian, the modern sport evolved from beginnings in Scandinavia, starting in the mid-1800s. So, for further reading on skiing, I'm going to add this to the underbar. So, skiing. S-K-I-N-G. That's a weird word to say, to spell. The skiing.
I think the modern day is called alpine skiing. So look at the history of alpine skiing.
History of alpine skiing.
That's what you're referencing, because it's chopped up into a bunch of different categories.
Ah, okay. Alpine skiing or downhill skiing is the pastime of sliding down narrow or snow-covered slopes on skis with fixed heel bindings, unlike other types of skiing, which use skis with free heel bindings. Whether for recreation or sport, it is typically practiced at ski resorts, which provide such services as ski lifts, artificial snow, and yada yada yada. So let me add this here as well, just as an extension. So, thank you for that. What else do we got here? 1920, the United States Senate voted against joining the League of Nations. You know what? That is requiring a cheer. The League of Nations, which later became the United Nations. I mean, on writing it sounds great, but in practice it's not good. The path to hell is paved on good intentions, as we all know. And as soon as you start, giving a mouse a cookie, they're gonna ask for a glass of milk. You give them a glass of milk, they're gonna need a nap, as the story goes. So, at the end of the day, it always comes down to the people. It comes down to society. It comes down to standards. you know, and socials and all that stuff. So, as soon as you start giving any form of government any type of power, that's when trouble starts brewing. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, I don't care about him forming the French government. 1921, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador signed the Pact of Union. What is the Pact of Union, you may ask? Well, let's look that up here really quick. Pact of Union. Hold on a second. 1921. This might be a different one. Hold on a second. Anglo-Irish Treaty. Okay. But this is not anything about that. Okay, well, if anybody can figure out more about this, let us know in the comments section. We just do not have time on the show to go off on wild rabbit hole goose chases. We got to stick to the articles here. 1922, geological survey said U.S. oil supply would be depleted in 20 years. Ha! yeah, the oil ran out in 1942, didn't it, Ghost? Like, I remember when that happened. What else do we got here? 1923, WMC AM in Memphis, Tennessee began radio transmissions. Okay, well, that's whatever. 1923 as well, the UK Chancellor of the Exchequer, I can never pronounce that word, Stanley Baldwin, and the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, Andrew Mellon, agreed to reschedule repayment of Britain's $4.5 billion war debt over 6.2 years, or over 62 years. $4.5 billion? They had that kind of money back then? What the hell? That is a lot of money. Like, I did not even... wow, that is a lot of freaking money. Hold on a second. Cool Frog has some more here. The difference between alpine skis and water skis was the invention from Minnesota. The tipped up nose of the ski to keep it out of the water. I mean, that makes sense. You'd think that the nose would be tipped up as well, you know, on land, because, like, you know, if you hit a rock with a flat nose, you're gonna fly over it. If you hit a rock with a tipped up nose, you'll just go up and over, right? You know?
No, you both are correct. Alpine skis used to have a bigger tip. Water skis are more. Sorry, I'm eating at the same time.
No,
Bad
that's
me.
all right. I wish I was eating. I'm hungry. So,
yeah, he's 100% correct.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, as a general historian, it's hard to, like, really go down too much rabbit holes, like, for too much specific information. Like,
true.
But no, this is interesting about skiing. Like, you know, I'm always, you know, down to learn more about things. Like, just in this past year, like, I've become more of a sports aficionado than I ever thought I'd be. But that's interesting about skiing. Like, I didn't know that.
You mentioned snowboarding or skateboarding too. Your sport would be, if you're into skateboarding, do snowboarding.
No, I'm not into skateboarding. For whatever reason, my mom thought it'd be great one year to give me a skateboard for Christmas, and that was probably one of the stupidest things she's ever done in her whole life. Like,
oh.
Yeah, like, no, like, I am not a sports guy. Like, I don't go out and do all that stuff. And as I said,
okay.
I got 2 inches on that skateboard in my driveway. It went out from under me. I landed on my tailbone and my elbow. My tailbone was fine, but I had like pads on and such. But it vibrated up the bone so much it got up to the wrist and it cracked the entire thing in half.
Yep, alpine skiing is for you then.
We'll see. Derailing your show, my bad. No, you're not derailing it. No, Frog, you're not derailing anything. Please, I welcome this. Like, I welcome getting off on tangents. If anything, we need more of this. Do not, by any means, think that you're derailing anything. You're adding, okay? You're adding. But no, like I've thought about skiing. I've thought about snowboarding and such. Like, the most sporty thing I do is boogie boarding. I haven't done that in the past couple of summers, but I really gotta. This upcoming summer, I really got to get in the water because Dad is a surfer guy. Like, he grew up, like, I like to say that he was a beach bum hippie. He wasn't a beach bum, but he certainly was a hippie, and he loves surfing. He's a surfer dude. Like, he has some froggy. Oh, are you from Minnesota? Oh, that's somebody else. Hello, Wolvenar. Welcome to the show. I'm not going to answer that question. I'll let Frog answer that because that's not my question to answer. But I do know the answer. Anyway, let's get back on track here. Let's see here, 1923, okay, we got that. 1929, Acadia National Park in Maine was established, alright. And while that was going on, a Finnish speed skater, Klaas Thunberg, set new world 500-meter record in 42.8 seconds in Davos, Switzerland. and I'm pretty sure that that record has been broken. I'm not entirely sure, but pretty sure. Yeah, it's this guy right here. 1932, Charlie Conacher became the first Toronto player to score 5 goals in an NHL game as Maple Leafs rout the New York Americans 11-3 at Maple Leaf Gardens. All right, pretty cool. 5 years later, we have millionaire Howard Hughes set transcontinental air record 7 hours 28 minutes and 25 seconds flying from Los Angeles to New York City. All right, we good old Howard Hughes. That's another guy who died in a very unfortunate way. He started going crazy and what was the condition he had? He had to count to 13. He had to do things 13 times. He had to have 13 P's, with his steak,
OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder.
Thank you. He had obsessive compulsive disorder, which is abbreviated to OCD, but if you really do have OCD, then you'd reclassify it as CDO because it's alphanumerically accurate. So, anyway, 1938, General Motors began mass production of diesel engines. Oh, all right, just in time for the war. 1939, Ernest Hausen of Wisconsin set chicken plucking record of 4.4 seconds. That is a record. Hopefully, there was a dead chicken. But yeah, in 4.4 seconds, he plucked all the feathers off a whole chicken. I don't know how he did that, but he did it. And that is a thing. So, 1940, the Three Stooges film You Nazi Spy about the Nazis released with the disclaimer, any resemblance between the characters in this picture and any persons living or dead is a miracle. Trying to do my best PA voice, whatever, what is it that South Park always has before the show? They go, any resemblance, yada yada yada, is purely incidental and coincidental. So, something like that. 1940 as well, LPGA title holders championship women's golf, Augusta Country Club. Helen Hicks won by 1 stroke ahead of Helen Detwiller. Okay, that's whatever. 1941, British offensive in Eritrea. Okay. And we also have British troops occupied Kasalof in Sudan. So those two have to be related to some point, because it's the same day, same year. We got another comment here. Cool Frog has not talked to me for years now, and not sure. I'm not gonna read the rest of that. Let's refrain from bringing up personal subject matters and grievances in live chats, please, if you don't mind. Yeah. Anyway, 1941. World War II, HMS Greyhound and other escorts of convoy AS-12 sunk Italian submarine Neg Hilly with all hands 64 kilometers, 40 miles northeast of Falconera. Huh. Dang. While that was happening, Japanese forces invaded Burma, as they were, around there. And while that was happening, Titus Brandsma arrested by German occupiers. All right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Miss Ghost, for that. Yeah, that's something we will like.
Sorry, I've got a laggy.
No, that's all right. I should really read before I just read out loud. Sorry about that. I don't want to have any animosity. Yeah, so that's not what the Omni Coalition is all about. We're all about helping each other. We're all about, finding empathy. If there truly is no way to come together, then I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that right now. Anyway, 1943, we have the first Warsaw Ghetto uprising began. Good. All the people, during the Holocaust and everything, they're fighting back. That's good. And this is probably why they introduced fluoride into that water, because fluoride is something that's, it causes lethargy. It's a poison. It has nothing to do with dental hygiene. It's a poison, and it actually contains a lot of heavy metals. And ever since they introduced fluoride into our water system, there's been a lot of mental problems, like Alzheimer's. That Alzheimer's is caused by heavy metals in the brain and whatnot, or that's one of the causes and such. Anyway, 1945, during the Second World War, Soviet forces liberated the Lodz ghetto of over 200,000 inhabitants from just 5 years ago. Less than 900 had survived the Nazi occupation. Yikes. Yikes. Less than 900 out of 200,000. That is, oh my god.
Yep, that's horrible.
Yeah. Yo, but speaking of Jews, hey Bradley, how you doing, man?
What's up? How's everyone doing?
Doing all right. We're in the middle of our history show. We just talked about a Holocaust article, actually.
Oh.
Interesting. Yeah, I was literally.
Cuba recognizes Israel, dude. That's freaking sweet.
I'm sorry, what?
Cuba recognized Israel on this day in 1949, dude. That's pretty.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that actually. 1946 here, General Douglas MacArthur established the International Military Tribunal for the Far East in Tokyo to try Japanese war criminals. Good. Yeah, because we made Douglas MacArthur here the leader of of Japan and everything that they had for a while. Like, it was nothing short of a miracle that we didn't execute Hirohito. You know, not only do we not kill him, but we let him like remain as emperor. But he had no power. Moving on up to 1947, the HMS Himera ran aground at Athens, killing 392 people. Yikes. That's not good. Like, how do people die when a ship runs aground? Like, I know there's like a lurch, but like, does stuff fall on them? Does a ship, like, did it blow up? Like, what happened? How did that kill almost 400 people? That's kind of crazy. And as Bradley here said, yeah, 1949, Cuba recognized Israel. That is pretty interesting. Cuba. Huh. That really just goes to show, like, you know, like, who really, like, is whose friend. You know? The communist state of Cuba recognizing Israel and just, you know, looking around at what's happening in the world today, and, you know, who's pushing what agenda, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, 1950, maiden flight by Canada's Avro Canada CF-100 military plane. I should have let you read that, Mr. Brad, because that is right up your wheelhouse right there. Let's take a look at this bird real quick. Let's see. Let me open it.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it, I don't think.
All right, well, we are about to see it right here.
Oh, wow.
Are you watching my share screen?
Yeah, no, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. I like the little, like what's with, like, why do I see some of these planes, they have these, like, these big...
Those are just ox fuel tanks.
Okay.
So so back in the day, and even today, you'll find very few planes. They'll have those, what they look like, little containers on the end of their wings. It's just auxiliary fuel.
That makes sense.
Capacity. Yeah.
And you know what?
There's some civilian ones that have them too.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, like, you know, why did they place it there? So to keep the wingtips, like, weighted so that way it's more lift?
Possibly. I'm not sure the exact science behind it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. Yeah, like Cool Frog and Wolf, like, if you want, I'm offering my services as a mediator. If something, like, as I said, I don't want to get into this on the show, but I see the chatter here, and if there's a way to make a resolution, I'll be more than happy to aid in that possibility. But as we've said, we'll discuss that after the show. Anyway, what else do we got here? 1952, the NFL purchases struggling football franchise New York Yanks from owner Ted Collins, moved club to the Dallas, Texas. Okay, so the New York Yanks. Actually, let me reread this. NFL purchased struggling football franchise New York Yanks from him, and then moved it to okay. So what are the Yanks now known as now? Because they sure as shit would not be the Texas Yanks. That's kind of counterintuitive to them. So, New York Yanks. Okay, 1951, but what are they now? Are they still the New York Yanks? Huh.
Yes.
Okay, then
Yeah, they're still the New York Yankees.
so did they move back from Dallas? Like, or actually, I'm so confused.
Oh, this says an American football team.
Yeah, well, NFL is the National Football League.
Yeah.
So.
But then they have a Yankees, which is a baseball team.
Yeah. Okay, so but this is the football.
We both made this thing.
But these are this is baseball. New York Yankees is baseball. This is NFL. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. 1952. NFL, yeah. Struggling football franchise. What was... Huh. I don't know. This article is screwing up my brain. Anyway, 1952, PGA, the something golf association, approves allowing black participants. Good.
Professional Golf Association.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. See you later, Wolfnar. Have a good one. I'll catch you on the flip. Anyway, moving on up to 1953, almost 72% of all television sets in the United States were tuned into Island Lucy to watch Lucy give birth. Hopefully they didn't show everything. Like, I really doubt that they would be back then. I don't know. But yeah, that was the very first birth on TV. So, wow, 72... Could you imagine how many hundreds of millions of people is 72%? Because the U.S. is what, 300 some odd million? Like
370 million.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So like what's 72% of like, let's just say 400 million? Like, what is that? Like 250 million, 270 million?
Go ahead, Bradley.
That's a lot.
For me to do this, I have to whip out a graphing calculator because that's how slow I am.
1953 here, Jesse Owens was named Illinois Athletic Commission Secretary. But yeah, U.S. track and field Olympian Jesse Owens named Illinois Athletic Commission Secretary. Jesse Owens. He's the guy who basically shoved Hitler's face in the mud, right? Like,
yeah, so I don't know if you've seen that movie. They did a thing on him, and
I gotta see
so basically, yeah, he was in the Olympics, and Hitler was there in the audience, and basically, what I recall, I don't think he wanted him there, like, because he's not part of the pure race or whatever, but he still went out there and competed and everything, yeah. I believe.
Well, like Bill Burr did an excellent bit about that. He's pretending to be Hitler. He's like, oh, we have created a superior race. We are number one, Deutschland number one. Jesse Owens comes in and kicks their teeth in. And then now the car ride home. Now you have to be like around an even angrier than usual Adolf Hitler. Like, he does a great bit. So
yeah,
I recommend people go watch that after this show, of course. But like, yeah. 1955, The Millionaire TV program premieres on CBS. Okay. And while that was going on, Scrabble debuted on board game markets. Oh, yeah. Isn't that Peggy Hill's favorite game, Scrabble? Or is that something else?
That game that you like put letters and make words, like Chutes and Ladders with words.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. 1955 as well, we have the first presidential news conference film for TV. It was Eisenhower. And yeah, we spoke a couple days about his farewell address. And actually, Ghost, should I play that farewell address again? Because it is very, very important. Like, I kind of want to.
Sure, why not? Do it.
Yeah, sure. Like, let's see here. Let's see. Eisenhower farewell address. Because this was several days ago. The anniversary was several days ago that he did this. But just the importance and magnitude of this speech, it really is incredibly relevant to today's time. So let me pause this music here so we can hear him.
A vital element in keeping the peace is our military establishment. Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action, so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction. Our military organization today bears little relation to that known of any of my predecessors in peacetime, or indeed by the fighting men of World War II or Korea. Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Very moving, very, very powerful, like, message right there. And like, wasn't sure if my mic was muted, but like terrifying, like, prospects and whatnot that he was talking about, like, and saying that only an aware society can prevent this. Well, look at our society. We are very much not aware, like, by any stretch. So, like, you know, like, and that's all by design, but like, that's a whole conversation and topic for ThEoD, really. Anyway, moving on up here, we have 1958 Canadian Football Council renamed Canadian Football League. All right. And speaking of Eisenhower, we're getting back to him here in 1960. Eisenhower and Premier Kishi signed the U.S.-Japanese Security Pact, U.S.-Japan Mutual Security Treaty. So let's see here. Let's take an opening swing at this subject matter. Let's see here. The Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Security between the United States and Japan, more commonly known as the U.S.-Japan Security Treaty in English, and also as the Anpo Joyaku, or just Anpo in Japanese, is a treaty that permits the persistence or the presence of U.S. military bases on Japanese soil and commits the two nations to defend each other and yada yada yada. So like a mutual, you know, defense pact and all that whatnot. Let me add this into here. So hold on a second. Let me just add my hyphen really quick and U.S.-Japan treaty. U.S.-Japan treaty. All right. So that's going to be added in there. Okay. What else do we have here? 1968, Northern Ireland Prime Minister Terence O'Neill called for, quote, a new endeavor by organizations in Northern Ireland to cross denominational barriers and advance the cause of better community relations, end quote. This sounds like the very beginning of the Troubles, and it looks like it is. 1968. Or like, when were the Troubles? Like, I know this was around. Like, when were the Troubles? Let's see here. The Troubles. 30 years from the 60s to 98. So yeah, this is when it was just getting rolling. So yeah. I don't really understand political jargon very well, so it'll take me a couple of tries, a couple readings of this to start to comprehend it. But if anybody can break this down to layman's terms and put this in the comments section, that'd be great. Moving on up. 1969, nice year. 8th AFL All-Star Game in the Gator Bowl. Jacksonville, Western Division defeated Eastern Division 38-25. Most valuable players: Len Dawson of Kansas City Chiefs, quarterback, and George Webster of the Houston Oilers, a linebacker. And then we also have the 19th NFL Pro Bowl, same date, same year. LA Memorial Coliseum, West beats East. West Coast, Best Coast, East Coast, East Coast. Roman Gabriel, Los Angeles Rams, quarterback. Merlin Olsen, Los Angeles Rams, DT. What is DT in football? Defense tackle?
Defensive tackle. Yep.
Oh, okay. I guessed that correctly. All right. Awesome. And while that was going on, student Jan Palak died after setting himself on fire 3 days prior in Prague's Wenceslas Square to protest about the invasion of Czechoslovakia led by the Soviet Union the year before, 1968. His funeral turned into another major protest. Politics get into everything, unfortunately, you know. And whenever I hear about protests and funerals, the first thing I think about is the Westboro Baptist Church. Anyway, moving on up to 1970, 8 bishops of the Roman Catholic Church in the Netherlands say there should be room in the church for both married priests and celibate priests. I don't know. Like, I don't, like, as an omnist, I you know, look into and follow and respect pretty much every religion there has, is, or will be. I don't know where to think about that. Because, like, essentially with Catholicism and any form of, you know, Christian things, if you're a preacher, if you're a priest, if you're any of this, you gotta focus your life around God. You can't have any earthly pleasures. You can't be married. You can't have kids. You know, you can't have a girlfriend. They're basically, well, I guess like the Jedi are basically based off of all that, you know, because they kind of have the same rules. Although, well, I mean, now that I think about like how the Jedi Order, you know, takes Force-sensitive children and indoctrinates them with their mentality, it very much sounds like the Catholic Church. You know, in a way. So, I wonder if the Jedi were based off of Catholicism. That's interesting. What are your thoughts about that, peeps? Like,
No comment about religion or politics.
good move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving on up, we also have in 1970 as well. Nixon nominated G. Harold Oswald to Supreme Court and failed. Okay. Oh, here we go. So this is a longer one. His approval was rejected by the U.S. Senate, so that's why he failed. So let me add that in really quick as a copy and paste, because that is a pretty much the same exact thing, just said a different way. I just want to be caught up. So anyway, what else do we got here? UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles, fired Angela Davis for being a communist. Wow, that's interesting. In today's world, she'd probably be like made the dean, you know. So
So was that like a
what?
big political thing? Was that like the thing called the Red Scare?
Yeah, McCarthyism, like not to be confused with the McCarthy of today with the whole like Speaker of the House thing. No, like back in the day, there was this guy named like John McCarthy or whatever, and he was like he pushed, like, you know, anti-communist this, and, you know, there was a whole like blacklist thing going on in Hollywood. Walt Disney was under scrutiny. Like, it was a whole thing. Like, basically, like, it was a much, like, it was still bad, but it was a much calmer version of what the left is doing today. Like, you know, how the left is just going after everything. Like, oh, if you're not with us, you're against us. You know, if you have one iota of a concept of a thought that is not in full agreement with us, then you might as well be dead. You know, like, it's an extreme version, like an extreme example of McCarthyism, what's going on today, just aiming towards the other side. Instead of being anti-communism, it's anti-anything not communism. So, yeah. Anyway, 1971 here, the Beatles' Helter Skelter is played at Charles Manson's trial. Yeah, that's what got him, he thought that they were actually talking to him personally, and telling him to go commit all the atrocious acts that he went and did, you know, with his cronies and whatnot. Charles Manson was a psychopath, so kind of reminds me of certain people. So that I'm not going to talk about that on the show. Anyway, 1971, NHL Writers Association renamed Professional Hockey Writers Association. Okay, so I guess that makes sense. So they're not officially, like, they're not NHL, but they're the writers. So I guess just rebranding makes sense. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, in 1974, I almost deleted that one here. Notre Dame defeated UCLA 71-70 in South Bend, Indiana, to end the Bruins' NCAA record 88-game basketball win streak. Holy crap! 88-game win streak. That is remarkable. Like, but they ended it. So yeah. 1974 as well. China and South Vietnam clashed over the Parcel Islands, resulting in a Chinese victory. Yeah. Well, here we go. China is Chinaing. 1975, 4 mail truck assault on El Ab B747 in Paris escaped to Iraq. What the hell does that mean? Brad, do you know about this? Like, what is this? Like, 4 mail truck assault. Like are...
Oh wait.
Sentient? What the hell is this? The
Oh.
Entebbe raid. Is this the same thing? No, this is... The Entebbe raid, or Operation Entebbe, officially codenamed Operation Thunderbolt,
I have no idea.
codenamed Operation Yonton, was a 1976 Israel counterterrorist mission in Uganda, but this is something else.
We need cheese.
Yeah, yeah. Where's cheese? Like,
Professor Cheese, we.
you know what? Like, you know, cheese always, you know, makes everything better. And I'm talking about the food, but also, you know, the guy, he also makes things better too. Well, let's see here. I just, you know, if anybody can figure out more about this, let us know in the comment section. Like, this is, wow. Speaking of comments, do we have anything? Oh, we do have some stuff on YouTube. Yo, Inya, how you doing? I'm deaf, gotta boost you guys up. Can you hear me now, Inya? And Pete's, of course. Hello, Pete. How you doing? McCarthy didn't go far enough. Yeah, like, my boomer dad would disagree, but like, I don't know. I would be in your wheelhouse, Pete, because, like, you know, now I'm not really advocating for going after somebody or anybody, but, like, I don't know, like, the whole point of this country is you know, like, you know, for freedoms, for liberties. But if we give people who have bad, you know, who have evil in their hearts any form of freedom, they will use that to take it away from us, and they have. You know, just look at it. Look at the world around you. You know, like, you give them an inch, they take a mile. You know, so I don't know. I really don't know how to react to that comment, Mr. Pete's. Like, I agree with you. At the same time, I also, like, disagree. Like, you know, I don't know. That's a whole conversation for the peanut, actually. Let's see here. That's just a whatever article. 1977, President Gerald Ford pardoned Eva Tongurli Diaquino, aka Tokyo Rose. And Tokyo Rose, yeah, that's a whole story in and of itself. We're already over the hour, so I'm gonna, like, try to not go off on tangents, because I'm really hungry and I want to get some food. So this show is probably going to be like another half hour or so long. So let's see here. 1977, Ernie Banks is elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. All right. We also have U.S. President Ford. We got that one. World's largest crowd gathering, the Hindu Kumbh Mela in India, attracted a then record of 15 million people. Holy crap. Like, I wonder if anybody got crushed by that. So. Hey, Cool Frogs on YouTube too. Hello, hello. We also have in 1977. Wow, we're stuck in 77 for a while. Snow fell in Miami, Florida. This is the only time in the history of the city that snowfall has occurred. It also fell in the Bahamas. That is very unusual. And like the other day, we spoke about that one time that snow fell in the Sahara Desert. Go look it up. You probably won't find much on Google Images, but once again, if you look at Ecosia, let's see here. Snow in the Sahara. Now, before I do that, let's just do a test here. Snow in the Sahara. Let's search for the same thing. Let's look for images. Alright, okay, now they're showing images. Last time I looked, all these images weren't an option. But yeah, there's snow in the Sahara. But let's see here. Snow in, what was this? 1977, Miami, Florida, snow. Let's see here. Florida. Images. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Whoops. Alright, snow in Miami. Look at that. This is in Miami, Florida. So, they have snow on their car. That's... Could you imagine, like, being in Miami, Florida to be snowing?
Yeah.
That's wild. And in the Bahamas. Bahamas, of all places. You know? Anyway, 1978, the last Volkswagen Beetle made in Germany left VW's plant in Emden. Beetle production in Latin America continued until 2003. So, yep.
They were such cute cars.
Yeah,
what I
were.
can see.
Yeah. But see, like, here's the thing. Like, you know, I find it so ironic that all these hippies drive around these Volkswagen, you know, buses. It's like, yo, that's basically Hitler's attempt at being Henry Ford. you know, because Volkswagen, the people's car, he was literally copying Henry Ford. He was trying to boost his country. He was trying to be like a first world. So like, so he was making it more affordable and approachable for the common person to have a car. And you know, like, Hitler was an awful person. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna deny that. Like, but like, what I will say is, like, you know, there's always a silver lining to every black cloud. Hitler invented the concept of freeways. Hitler created Volkswagen, you know, and all that stuff. And isn't there something involving like, it's either the blow-up sex doll or the condom that was a thing there. Pete, like, this is a cheese question, obviously, but Pete's not Pete's. Well, Pete's probably would know. I mean, Bradley, do you know anything about that?
I do not.
You know what? Let me look it up. Hold on a second. Did Hitler invent the sex doll? That's a weird question. Here we go. Let's see here. Well, apparently it's been proved false, but like, yeah, you know, all these fact check. Snopes. Okay, so yeah, don't disregard Snopes.
Your search history is glorious, by the way.
Yeah, I bet it is. What else do we got here? 1978, Eddie Matthews elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. All right. Okay, nobody cares about the FBI, so get rid of that. 1979, U.S. President Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer, announced he is awarding Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously to anthropologist Margaret Mead. All right. Pretty cool. Moving on up into 1981, during the Iran hostage crisis, United States and Iranian officials signed an agreement to release 52 U.S. hostages after 4 months of captivity. Is this the Iran-Contra affair, or is this something else? I'm not sure.
I've been paying attention, but I wasn't smart.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Ghost?
Maybe? I don't know. I wasn't paying close enough attention.
No worries. It just says, like, you know, it's the Iran hostage crisis. I'm not sure if that's part of the Iran-Contra affair.
No, it's separate. That was before.
Okay.
From what I've read, I think.
And thank you very much, Mr. Cool Frog. You know, smashing that like button like everybody should. You know, yeah, that is very welcome. You know, like and subscribe and all that stuff. Let's see here. 72% is still in question. Yeah. Let's see here. Moving on up. 1981. Muhammad Ali talked a despondent 21-year-old out of committing suicide. That's cool. Like, yeah. 1982. OSW1 one-day game that produced a... What the hell? What was that?
Austin versus Wisconsin? I don't know. Dudes would know.
Okay, yeah, I would say something versus Wisconsin. So, one-day game that produced a Privy Council libel case. What does that even mean? There's so many ways that can be interpreted. My brain is not working. Let's see here. Australia Act of 1986, but that's not even the correct one. So, well, if anybody can figure out more about this, let us know in the comment section. I'm asking a lot of the viewers to do some research and such, you know, to educate the rest of us. You know. People.
Wait a minute, that's Australia.
Australia versus Wisconsin?
I don't know. Australia one day, because it's Privy Council libel. Council's not us. It's not the United States.
Would this be cricket? Like, I don't know. Anyway,
I had a copy.
I'm sorry?
Do it again. Copy paste it without the year. See.
All right, let's see here. It just gives me the exact website I'm looking at. Like, so, we events in history, brain events. Okay, what is this? This is 82. Okay, I think we're on the... Okay, now this is just a dead end. Alright, oh well. Anyway, 1982 as well, heater exploded at Star Elementary School, Oklahoma, killing 6 children and a teacher. Yikes. That's not good. 1983, Nazi war criminal Klaus Barbie, SS chief in Lyon in Nazi-occupied France, was arrested in Bolivia. Yes, the butcher of Lyon. I learned about him through the movie Rat Race. Let's go to the Barbie Museum. Wrong Barbie. So, yeah. I thought that was a joke, but that was actually a real guy. It's a Klaus Barbie. 1983 as well, the Apple Lisa, the first commercial personal computer from Apple Inc. to have a graphical user interface and a computer mouse, was announced. Yes, the Apple Lisa. Let's take a look at this bad boy here. The cutting edge of technology in 1983. So, was this. Has a built-in floppy
Named
drive.
after his daughter. Is that right?
What?
Named after Steve Jobs' daughter.
I think so. That's what that sounds about right. Yeah. Because I do know Snickers, the candy, you know, Snickers, that was named after somebody's horse. Like, whoever invented Snickers, he named it after their horse or something. Or maybe the nickname for their daughter. You know what? Let's look this up. You know, where did Snickers get their name? Snickers. Okay, the strange origins of Snickers' name. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, right here. It all started with a horse called Snickers. So yeah, the candy bar Snickers is named after a horse. So where did the Apple Lisa get its name? Let's see here. The history of the Apple Lisa. Okay, Apple Lisa. Honestly, okay, but it's not telling me directly. Let's see here. Is Jenny considered market preference? Well, I'm gonna add this wiki in the underbar of the description, so if anybody can figure it out, because we don't have the time, Apple Lisa, to look into that further live on the show. But if anybody can tell us in the comment section, that'd be great. Speaking of comments, do we have anything new on here? Cool Frog has time to go into
Look in Rumble. Do you have time to go into Rumble? Can you read that a little bit?
Do I have time to go into Rumble? What are you talking about?
Well, you keep mentioning that you're in a hurry, so if you read the comment in Rumble, it'll help with the OS, WIS,
Oh, okay.
AUS, WO question.
WI is West Indies. Okay, I thought it was cricket. Okay, that makes more sense. Because see, my rule of thumb is if you read something verbatim and you feel like you had a stroke, don't worry that it's just cricket. So, thank you, Cool, for clearing that up. WI is West Indies, so that was a cricket article before. That explains why I was so confused. So yeah. Then 1985, Born in the USA, single by Bruce Springsteen, peaked at number 9. That's a good song. And then 1986, the first IBM PC computer virus was released into the wild. I love the way that's written. A boot sector virus dubbed C-Brain was created by the Farooq Alvi brothers in Lahore, Pakistan, reportedly to deter unauthorized copying of the software they had written. So we can thank Pakistan for inventing the computer virus. Thank you, Pakistan. What wonderful things you give to the world. Steve Jobs named the company Apple because he liked the fruit. Yeah, I know that. We're talking specifically about the Apple Lisa computer. And I am aware of the original logo for Apple, which was actually, what's-his-face sitting under the tree. Original Apple logo. So, for people who do not know, let me get rid of all these other tabs. This right here was the original Apple logo right here. What was his name? Why can't I remember his name?
Oh, the Galileo guy?
No, this
No,
is way
I'm
after
talking
Galileo. This the guy who discovered gravity. Isaac Newton? Was it Isaac Newton? Hold on a second. Who discovered gravity? I think it was Isaac Newton. It was Isaac Newton. Okay. Yeah. So this is Isaac Newton sitting under the apple tree. The apple right there. It falls on his head, and he's like, "Oh, gravity." But Apple, they didn't have this logo for long, and I shit you not, they changed it to the Apple that we all know. Well, here's an actual. It went from this to the rainbow with Apple. Then just rainbow Apple, then black, and then we have various, throughout the years. But they went from this to this because, and I kid you not, and they actually said this, the general consumer is too stupid and ignorant to understand the reference. So right from the beginning, they've looked at us like lesser creatures, like things that are less than them intellectually wise. So Apple, fuck Apple,
Okay, I'm before Apple, and I have to say I was one of the idiots because I couldn't figure out who that was sitting under a tree.
Well,
So we'll have 50-50. You're against Apple, I'm pro. That's totally cool.
all right. Well, we'll still turn you yet. Like, we'll see. Anyway,
This is true. You probably will.
yeah, 1986. Bradley, Spain recognized Israel here. Bradley's deafened just in the nick of time. He didn't hear that. Oh well. Hey, cool frog. Yeah, Apple sucks. No, 1986. Spain recognized Israel. So here we go again. We talked about Cuba earlier, and now we're talking about Spain. Moving on up into 1987. Guy Hunt became Alabama's first Republican governor since 1874. Whoa. So, wow. Alabama. Well, I mean, that makes sense, especially since the Democrats, created, the triple letter, thing. Like, hold on a second. How do I do it? The triple letter, whatever this is. Like, so.
Karen.
Yes, the Karens. Yes. They invented that, so that makes sense that they had control of Alabama because of the Southern and everything. What is this? The Lisa. Apple officially stated that the name was an acronym for Logically Integrated Software Architecture. That makes sense. So, all right. Okay, I'll take that.
Will Cool Frog appear down here in the panel with the rest of us because he's got some serious research skills and knowledge?
You know what? Like, the door's open. Like, I still gotta chat with him about how we do shows and everything. We actually host everything on Discord as an open door for anybody in the server to pop in, pop out. Be a part of the live studio audience, participate if they wish. Speak up. Like, we're just open. We're as open as you can be. So, like, because I know how StreamYard works, and to have more people, you have to spend money to open up more slots. Well, everything's free on Discord. Like, I found a way to game the system unintentionally before I even knew there was a system to game. Anyway, 1988, 48 Hours premiered on CBS TV. And while that was happening, disabled writer Christopher Nolan won the Whitbread Book of the Year prize. Christopher Nolan. Is this the same, it's not the director, right? That's interesting. Disabled writer Christopher Nolan. Let's see here. Same guy? Is Christopher Nolan disabled?
Lewis, don't know.
Huh.
Maybe Bradley B knows. Is Bradley B gone?
He's deafened. He can't hear us. Yeah. Anyway, that's another question for the audience. If anybody can figure out if this is the same Christopher Nolan as the director. Although that's weird because this is a disabled writer, so I don't know. Anyway, 1989, President Reagan pardoned George Steinbrenner for illegal funds for Nixon. All right. Oh, this guy. Yeah. 1990, test debut of... okay, this is more cricket, so whatever. Get rid of that. 1990 as well, police broke up protests in Johannesburg against the cricket players defying a boycott on playing in apartheid South Africa. Yeah. So here we go, more cricket, and now I never thought I'd read an article involving cricket and apartheid, but here we are. And while that was happening, we have a turning point in the exodus of hundreds of thousands of Kashmiri Hindus from Indian-administered Kashmir due to violence from Muslim militants. Huh? Yep. Let's see here. Okay, that's a whatever. Let's just get rid of that. 1991, during the Gulf War, Iraq fired a second Scud missile into Israel, causing 15 injuries, as well as launching more Scuds into Tel Aviv and other cities. Banter about sources. Okay. I don't know what that means. 1991 as well, Eastern Airlines shuts down operations. And while that was going on, Sergeant Slaughter defeated Ultimate Warrior in the World Wrestling Federation Championship belts. And let's see here. Due to asphyxiation at birth, Christopher was born with a permanent impairment of his nerve signaling system, a condition he said is now labeled dystonia. So is this the same Christopher Nolan? Nolan was born with cerebral palsy and could only move his head and eyes. Like, so is this the same Christopher Nolan? Like, that is the movie director, the writer? Like, or are these two different people?
I don't know.
Well, I'm reading
I think it sounds like two different
comments right now on Rumble. Like, obviously he's talking about the writer, but I'm still unsure if the writer and the director are one and the same guy. Anyway, let's see here. What else do we got? 1992, Kai Coleman and David Zippel's musical City of Angels closed at the Virginia Theater in New York City after 879 performances, winning 6 Tony and 8 Drama Desk Awards. That is a lot of rewards right there. 1992 as well, the Cerebral Palsy Telethon raised $23.5 million. Speaking of cerebral palsy, you know, right there. 1993, Czech Republic and Slovakia joined the United Nations. Alright. And 2 years later, 1995, after being struck by lightning, the crew of Bristow helicopter's flight 56C were forced to ditch. All 18 aboard were later rescued. Alright, good. So, 1997, Yasser Arafat returned to Hebron after over 30 years and joined celebrations over the handover of the last Israeli-controlled West Bank city. Okay, like, the last... Okay, so they got back their West Bank. Okay, so Cool Frog just confirmed that they are 2 different people. So they just happen to share the same name, but Christopher Nolan, the director, is not Christopher Nolan, the writer. So now we have 2 definitive people. So, to reiterate here, the Christopher Nolan, the writer, due to asphyxiation at birth, Christopher was born with permanent impairment of his nerve signaling system, a condition he said is now labeled as dystonia. Nolan was born with cerebral palsy and could only move his head and eyes. So that just sucks. 1999, British Aerospace agreed to acquire the defense subsidiary of the General Electric Company plc, forming BAE Systems in November 1999. We all know about BAE. Like, what does BAE even stand for? Like, British something, British Aeronautical something? Like, let's see here. This is British. BAE Systems. BAE Systems PLC. But what does BAE stand for? Like, it's a British arms manufacturer. So, alright. Moving on up to 2007, a 4-man team, N2I, using only skis and kites. Here we go, talking about skiing again. Actually, hold on a second. Before that, we have 2001, Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman escaped from Puente Grande maximum security prison near Guadalajara by bribing prison guards and hiding in a laundry cart. Wow, that's a way to get out. I'm pretty sure that was mocked in so many various forms of media. So let me add that to this really quick. Going back to 2007 here, a 4-man team, N2I, that is the wrong button, I did not want to click that. Using only skis and kites, completed a 1,093-mile or 1,759-kilometer trek to reach the Antarctic pole of inaccessibility for the first time since 1965, and the first time ever without mechanical assistance. Wow. Okay, yeah, so to continue on this Christopher Nolan thing, just to wrap it up, the Irish poet Christopher Nolan, an author, died back in 2009, while the director Christopher Nolan is still alive. So rest in peace, writer Christopher Nolan. You shall not be forgotten, because we spoke about you. 2012, the Hong Kong-based file-sharing website Mega Upload was shut down by the FBI. I remember that. I was, yeah. Well, I used Mega Upload. But they still use it, right? Like, Mega Upload's still around. Like, I swear. Hold on a second. Mega Upload. Is it still Upload? Mega Upload. Former Hong Kong-based company. Okay, yeah. Former Hong Kong-based, yeah. But, huh. Well, now there's Mega.io. Maybe that's the same thing right there. I'm not sure. Anyway. 2014, a bomb attack on an army convoy in the city of Banu killed at least 26 Pakistani soldiers and injured an additional 38 others. Yikes. And, 2017, we have Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is extradited to the United States to face trial for his leadership of this Sinaloa drug cartel. And so I wonder if that was intentional, because that's like on the anniversary of his escape. What else do we got here? 2021. I'm not going to read this because it contains buzzwords and whatnot, and I don't want to get in trouble on YouTube. But yeah, you can see this with your own eyes right now, and it's a real problem. Like, what's going on with China to these people. So yeah. Let's see here. What else do we got? 2022, 5G cell phone service launched in the U.S. with airlines claiming it could interfere with airplane technologies. That was the least of our worries. You know, then we have all the conspiracy people going about like, oh, it's gonna melt your brain and all that stuff. What else do we got
There's
here?
an engineer.
Yeah.
There's a dude on YouTube. He's an engineer. He highlights that the cell phone wavelengths is a legit thing.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. It sounds like a conspiracy, but it's legitimate.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you know, as it said, you know, ever since 2020, this has been a saying, or actually 2021, I guess. What's the difference between and I'm going to ask you, so I actually do want your answer. What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and reality?
Well, one involves at least two people, coming up with ideas that have no research basis. I think you're asking me as a joke, aren't you? I finally just realized
it's a joke and a truth at the same time. But you're starting to get to know me. Like, there's kind of like humor in everything I say. But no, the difference between conspiracy theory and reality is about 6 months. So, yeah. Anyway, 2022 as well, we have a major report on antimicrobial resistance shows 4.95 million deaths worldwide associated with drug-resistant bacteria, making untreatable infections now a leading cause of death. Wow, that's kind of scary, right there. And didn't we recently, there's like China made a new form of the Kung Flu that has a 100% death rate? Or is that just like clickbait? Because that sounds ridiculous, 100% death rate. Although it does, you know, with smaller animals and everything. And that's a whole conversation for ThEoD Rumble section. Just this time last year, New Zealand leader Jacinda Ardern announced she is stepping down as Prime Minister after 5.5 years of New Zealand. Alright, so let me add that here really quick. Let me add this. Let me copy and paste that really quick. Alright, and then we just done. Alright, let's do a really quick rundown of births if there's anything interesting here. Let's see here. Sarah Helen Whitman, born on this date in 1803, was a U.S. poet, essayist, and romantic interest of Edgar Allan Poe. Robert E. Lee, 1807, a U.S./CSA general and academic. General Lee, you know, we know about him from the Civil War. Lysander Spooner, what a name. I wonder if they snuggled well. 1808, U.S. philosopher and author. Edgar Allan Poe as well. So his love interest and, you know, is actually 6 years older than him on the date. 1809, U.S. short story writer, poet, and critic. And I mentioned Edgar Allan Poe actually earlier today in Triple T's live stream here. She's not streaming anymore. But yeah, I mentioned something about Edgar Allan Poe. Like the last time he was seen in public was like dying in a ditch or something. I saw you're unmuted. What's up, Ghost?
No, I was just going to say, when you said Spooner, I was trying to get the laptop to work. I was just going to go off on a tangent about Spooner. It's a legit name that exists today.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if they're good at snuggling, though. Oh. Who else do we have? Dolly Parton, 1946. Paula Deen, 1947. We know about those two. Okay, so let's see here. Deaths. Charles Bent. I guess he got bent. He was the first governor of New Mexico. Died on this date in 1847. August Heinrich Hoffmann von Flavensleben, 1874. I just wanted to say that name. Oh God. Let's see here. Amateur Bahala 2000. Okay. Hedy Lamarr. Okay, died in 2000 as well. We all know about Hedy Lamarr. John Stewart, 2008. Not to be confused with Jon Stewart. This guy was a U.S. singer, songwriter, and guitarist. And Azaria Alon, 2014, a Ukrainian-Israeli environmentalist, co-founded the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel. Well, you know, that's an interesting jumble of words right there. Anyway, it is up to you to find the artifacts of our history, but only if each individual reaches out with and for open mindfulness and a yearning to see outside of what you think you know, to grow and to find enlightenment. We have to find common ground with those who see their opinions differently from your own and to find a better way, to be better to one another. And that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar in the description below for any links you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. We're not just on Rumble on YouTube, we're also on BitChute and Odyssey, and links to those and all of our social medias and all that stuff are down in our link tree. For your dose of past events daily, we stream almost every day at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, which is 12 noon, 1 Mountain, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. We have other shows. We don't just do this history show. We have the Omni Coalition News Show actually coming up in 2.5 hours here. Every Friday at 3 p.m. we covered weird, odd, and unusual notable events, weather, and sports. We have the Edge of Disclosure, ThEoD, talking about UFOlogy, paranormal, conspiracy, science, tech, all that stuff, coming up tomorrow at 3 p.m. And we've also mentioned this Kicking the Peanuts, talking about basically anything and everything that we want to talk about, coming up this Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time. And we have other shows in the works. We actually, Ghost, I'm not sure if you were awake last night, but Alice and I accidentally created another show. We're going to be, I'll disclose more information about that later on. I got to start talking to certain people and start seeing if they're on board. Anyway, if you want to catch our streams, if you're on the West Coast, it's 11 and 3 all for thee, Mountain 12 and 4, watch us for more, Central 1 and 5 for the Contrive, and East 2 and 6 for your fix. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander. We had Hawk in the live studio audience for a while. We have Brad right there. Miss Ghost, you want to outroduce yourself, I guess?
Just Ghostery Anonymous everywhere.
Yep.
And that's it. Yay!
Yep. In the chats, we of course have Cool Frog, we have Wolvenar, we have Jacob Peets somewhere, probably in the YouTube section. Where is it here? Jacob Peets, yeah, Inya Myers, and everybody who's watching that I didn't name, thank you very much for watching. Until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs.